I was begging God. I was on my knees. I really wanted His will. I knew there was tremendous financial challenges ahead, and I just wanted His way to do things. I knew that I would be helpless if I didn't make the right choices. And so today we're going to take a look at how God taught me to trust Him in financial instability and situations that are out of our hands to control and navigate. Now, this is something that I actually learned the easy way. A lot of lessons, we learn them the hard way, but this was not hard. And I will tell you why in a minute. But first, let's just go back 4 or 5 years in time and take a look at the stage that I was in back then. I was living in an apartment. It was a good place, but I knew it wasn't the place for me to continue to stay. I owned the place and I certainly wanted to continue to own my own house. However, I knew that there was so much turbulence coming in terms of politics and wars and finances and the systems that we've had so far. I knew that I couldn't trust them. I also knew that inflation would come, that mortgage rates would probably go up, and also that the electricity would probably skyrocket. How did I know that? Well, I have known for a very long time that the news, the ordinary news, we are not getting the real news that we need from them. And so for that reason, I've been paying attention to other types of information sources. So for that reason, I was informed and mentally prepared for times to be difficult and the decades ahead. And so for that reason, I was on my knees and I prayed to God. I wanted to do the right moves and be prepared in time for what I knew would come, but I had no idea how. But I put it in His hands and I was totally dedicated before there was any type of crisis in my life. And because I did that and I was obedient when the call came for me to do something that I would never ever want to do and do naturally on my own initiative, well then I was obedient, and through that I prospered. And I will get back to that shortly, but first let me just tell you what my plan was, because we make our plans, but God is the one that directs our steps. So my plan was to buy a different house. I wanted a farm. I wanted to be further out in the countryside. I wanted the old classic traditional Norwegian sweet home that was just, my dream. And I wanted to own it, because owning it means that you have control. But I also saw the way that things were developing, that it was not necessarily a wise decision to buy something new at all. Renting was what was wise, but I didn't want that. I had so many bad experiences with not being in charge and having the control and the stability that I desired and wanted and needed in my life that you only get when you truly buy. But since I had prayed to God and I had dedicated my finances and everything that I had to Him, and I had begged Him to prepare me for difficult times ahead that I knew was coming, then I do believe that He actually answered and I picked it up. But I was slow. It took me quite a while to understand what He wanted me to do, because I sold my house that I had and I was waiting to find my dream property that I would buy, a cute little farm, but it didn't show up. And so I was waiting for almost 2 years until I realized that, oh boy, the doors for me to purchase my dream is not open. But then suddenly something happened that made me understand that God wants something totally different instead. I'm Eden. I create videos about the path with God, the life purpose that we have, and the abundant life that God wants for us. So if you are interested in that kind of stuff, then don't forget to subscribe so that you can see more of my content. Now, it was taking very long and I didn't find the property that I was looking for. And so I reached out to God and I say, hey, if you actually want me to rent something, then you need to tell me if that is your plan instead. I don't want to rent, but I understand that it is really not a good time to buy. And the property that I'm looking for is not showing up. So maybe that is your plan. I want to do it your way. Now, the very next day after I had that prayer, I talked to a friend of mine and she said, hey, why don't you rent a farm? And I was like, nah, I had all the reasons why that wouldn't work. But then while I was talking to her, I just went online and I checked for rental properties in the very small village that I wanted to go to, where there's usually no properties for rent at all. And lo and behold, at that precise time, there was a property for rent, and it was my dream home. It looked exactly the way that I wanted it. It was just bigger and better in every way. And I knew in that moment that this was God's answer. He had opened the door for rent while I wanted to buy. Now, I moved into that property, and even though there were other people who wanted that, and I wasn't the best candidate, I knew right away that this is for me and I'm going to get it because God has provided it for me. And so I did. I moved in, and later on, 1 year and 2 years went by, and people around me everywhere were struggling. Why? Well, because as I went into a rental contract, people all around me were struggling because the mortgage rates were going up. It was actually doubling, and the electricity was quadrupling. It was going through the roof, and it was a general inflation on food and everything, and so many people had to sell their homes, or they were really, really struggling with what they had, and I was not. I was in a good place, the perfect spot, and I was taken care of. Now, one of the ways that you can secure a good provision for you and your family is to be in line with God's purpose. What He wants is what is important, and if you follow that and align yourself to that, then He has promised that He will provide for us. Now, we all have different purposes. Some are called in this direction and others are called in another. And I've just created a free mini course about life purpose and how to fulfill it. So if that is interesting for you, check out the link below. And the lesson that it gave me was that if you give everything to God and you beg Him with your sincere heart to take care of all that you have, even before you even get close to a crisis, and you pay attention to His direction, even if it is something that is not what you want to do, when you are on the lookout for your next step. Now, I just want to tell you what I did was, please God, open the doors that will lead me to your way, not my way, and close the doors to whatever I may like, but is not good for me. And if I am heading in the wrong direction, then correct me. And if I am stubborn and really, really want something that you don't want for me, then be strict and stop me. Now, that is the way that I pray, because I desperately want God's will, and I know that I may miss. And through that, and if you do that also, you can preserve your wealth, your health, your state of goodness in any kind of situation, because nothing that happens on this planet is a surprise to God, and He knows decades ahead, and He knows everything long before it happens and know exactly where to go or how to do it so that you will be safe and taken care of, etc. So it says in the Bible that the wise see the problems or the disaster coming and prepares, or get out of the way in time, while the fool suffers from it. Now, we don't want to be fools, but that doesn't mean that we have to be super bright and intelligent and know the times and all the stocks and finances and all of that. No. What we need to do is sense the times, turn off the TV, don't listen to the ordinary news, but seek out sources that have better quality on the information that is given, and most of all, read the Word and talk to God and dedicate your life and your finances to Him, and you will stand in financial times that are unstable or whatever is going on, as long as you qualify to be receiving of His promises. But you have to walk in righteousness and commit your life for real to God, for Him to be able to fully protect and provide for you. So I hope this can help you stand strong in any times that are coming ahead. And we know there's going to be a lot worse stuff coming than what we have so far. And if you're interested in finances and the life with God and how to navigate all of that, I will put some links on the screen right now so that you can check it out. And with that, I just want to say take care, be blessed, and hope to see you soon again.